The movie we are reviewing today is Redeeming Love, based on the Bible book of Hosea. The full movie is 2 hours and 14 minutes. I'm going to summarize it for you to make it as short as possible without missing any details. The movie starts with a prostitute named Angel, who is also the star in this movie. Angel is just done serving a man, and she continues to stare in the window, watching at the rest of the men lining up outside just to have a moment with her. She was highly priced. Men had to pay a lot of money, and they would have to line up and be given numbers, and a lottery would be made, and the lucky one would have the night with Angel. Each person had about 30 minutes to spend with her. Angel was not always like that. Angel had a mother when she was a little girl of about 8 years old. Her mother loved her and brought her up like a lady, trained her how to behave and how to talk to people. Her mother named her Sarah. Sarah's mother tried to make her be likable to her father, but her father never liked her and never accepted her. So Sarah's father refused Sarah from addressing him as his father. Sarah could not understand why she was not loved at the time until she overheard the conversation between her father and her mother. Her father was bitter with her mother for keeping the child when he had instructed her to get rid of the pregnancy. According to the father, Sarah should never have existed. While her father and mother argued about her existence, Sarah could hear them and she kept crying outside the door. The argument got heated up and Sarah's father ended up beating her mother. Sarah's father already had a family of his own, and Sarah's mom was the other woman. When her parents began to fight, Sarah ran away from the door behind where she was listening from. She ran crying into the gardens. Her mother came looking for her. Her mother was bruised up from the beating. Sarah asked her if life would have been better for her if she had died, something which her mother assured her can never be the better choice. Her mother assured her that she loved her and she would not change a thing about her. All this was happening as a memory for Angel, while she was staring at the window watching at all the men lining up to have sex with her. In the next scene, Angel and the girls are having a drink, each of them sharing how they got into the job of sex workers and sharing the dreams they have and what they want to do with their lives. Angel didn't have any plans. She told them that the best thing to do is not think about the past, not even the future. Because of what she witnessed and what she went through as a child, Angel had lost hope for the future, and she did not want to remember the past because of the painful memories of how she lost her mother and how her father rejected her and how she ended up into prostitution to survive. Now Angel lived for the day. We get to see Michael Hosea, who is a very hardworking young man who believes in God. He's so happy because God has been such a blessing to him. He lives on the other side of town. After his day's work, he goes to church. Thanks the Lord for blessing him with so much wealth and so much possessions. Then he asks the Lord to give him a woman who can share this blessing with him. He asked God to bless him with a wife. One day Hosea goes to town to pick some supplies for his farm, and then Angel comes walking out on the street with a bodyguard. Michael looks on and he admires the beauty. Michael knows in his heart that this is the woman that God wants him to marry. Michael was informed that that won't be possible because that's the most highly priced prostitute in the town. And to meet her, she has to pay the Duchess, who is in charge of the ladies, just for him to go in the lottery so she can win a chance to spend some quality time with Angel. That evening, Michael rides by Angel's house and sees her seated up in the room where she normally does her business, seated by the window. Angel had given up on life. Angel started to remember moments from her childhood when one of the house caretakers assured Angel that all men want to do in life is use you, and that her father used her mother. Her father only cared about what her mother could give her. Yet her mother gave her all and loved the man wholeheartedly. All these memories remind Angel that you should not give your heart to a man, and you should never view a man as someone who could love. Her mother had a hard time with Angel when their father disregarded them. Her mother ended up selling everything she owned just to get some money for them to get by with the child. With time, she didn't have enough possessions to sell for them to get by. So she ended up starting to offer her body so she could get the basics for her and her daughter. All this happened while Angel watched. They lived on the streets and her mother kept offering her body for food and for other basic needs. Time came when her mother could not do that anymore. Her body had grown weak. She got so sick that she ended up dying. Angel prayed to God to save her mother, but her mother died still. The body was collected and the cross that her mother wore around the neck was given to Angel. Angel was now left alone. 8 years old, she held onto the cross and threw it in the river. She did not believe in the existence of God. She prayed and her mother prayed, but they were still not saved from the situations they had to go through that ended up taking her mother. In the next scene, we're brought back to the current situation of Angel. Angel had drunk herself in her room and she didn't want to see any man. She refused to open the door. She refused to let any man in. Yet these men had to win a lottery just to spend some time with her, and they had to pay away lots of money. The Duchess's bodyguard was sent to discipline Angel. Angel was tortured for refusing to let the men in. And before he could inflict bruises on her body, the Duchess came in and stopped him, asked him to sober her up, get her ready in 2 hours so she can start serving clients. In just a short while, Angel was as good as new and ready to serve the clients for the night. The first client for the evening was Hosea. Hosea paid double just so he could see Angel. Angel thought Hosea is just the normal people the normal guys who come just to sleep with her, but he did not sleep with her. Instead, he asked to talk to her. Shocked, Angel obliged, so they talked the rest of the time and asked her to get away with him. Angel refused, but Hosea came back the second time and the third time, paying double and asking her to marry him. Even though Angel refused, but the idea and the thought kept staying in her mind, thinking how life would be like if she really got away from that place, or if that is even possible. Speaking to one of her friends who is also a prostitute, Angel shared that she's going to get out of this place one day, but her friend told her that won't be possible because the Duchess won't allow it. And Angel decided to go and ask the Duchess for her money. The Duchess did not oblige to this. The Duchess told her she cannot give her any penny because she has been taking care of her and giving her shelter, so that is an equivalent for the money. They had an argument and Angel ended up breaking one of the cups, and the Duchess informed her that that cup was worth a lot of money and she has to pay it all back. Angel got beaten up and kept in a room where she was beaten up badly by the bodyguard of the Duchess. Where Hosea was, he could not rest. He got this feeling that Angel is in trouble. So he rushed to the parlor where the girls served the men who bought them. Despite the Duchess's refusal, Hosea ran straight to Angel's room and found her badly beaten up. She was lying in bed with her face all bruised up. Hosea informed the Duchess that he is taking her. The Duchess told him he cannot take her until she pays all her money which Hosea ended up paying. Despite her bruised face and body, Hosea asked Angel to marry him and she accepted. Hosea took her home and took care of her and nursed all her wounds until she was back to health. Angel had no idea what it's like to be a wife or to be at home. All she knew was the street life, so she devised a plan to run away from the house, which she did, but she didn't get so far. She was trying to get back to the parlor, which was 20 miles away, and just a mile away she got so tired and she bruised her body and she was in want of water. When Hosea found out that Angel had disappeared, Hosea ran after her, caught up with her, gave her water and gave her clothes to cover herself, gave her a choice, either to continue 19 miles to the parlor or 1 mile back home where there is food and water and a house and a husband waiting for her. Then Hosea left her to make the decision. After giving it some thought, Angel decided to go back home. She still tried to give the prostitute services to Hosea, but Hosea kept telling her we are not ready and he is not going to have sex with her until it means something to her. Angel did not understand this behavior. After some time, still he didn't feel like he did fit in the place. He wanted to run away, run after the Duchess and get her money which the Duchess took from her. Hosea had a sister, Tessa, who passed away, and Hosea gave her clothes to Angel because they were the same size. But her sister had a husband who went to town to look for gold. When Hosea's brother-in-law came back, he was not pleased to find Hosea married to the famous whore in town. They got into a fight with Hosea about Angel, and Hosea asked him to respect Angel and to love Angel if he loves him as a brother. Hosea loved Angel, gave her the life that he thought Angel deserved. Angel started to ease up with Hosea. They started to do work together, showing her around on how to do house chores. They even got intimate, and life was starting to get normal for Angel. She started to get nightmares of the torture the different pimps that owned her took her through, and every time she would get those nightmares, Hosea would be right beside her. Angel would start to feel worthless and undeserving of the life that Hosea has provided, and she would start to plan of ways to escape from home. Hosea gave a horse wagon and some money to his brother-in-law and asked him to go in town and fetch some supplies and make something out of his life so he can start building his own wealth and his life back together. Before Paul, Michael's brother-in-law, could leave for town, Angel caught up with him and asked him to take her along to town. Since Paul was not in agreement with Angel staying married to Hosea, he agreed to take her to town. On the way, Paul ended up sleeping with her for the fear of taking her to town. Paul didn't want anyone to see him with her, so before he could get very close, he asked her to get off so that nobody sees them together. Angel looked at him and said, "She has never pretended to be who she's not, but he's pretending to be something she's not. A brother to Hosea. Hosea has given you his money, his horse, and now you've also taken his wife. You should feel ashamed of yourself." They parted ways, and Angel went looking for the house where they used to carry out prostitution from, only to find it burned down to ashes. The house had caught fire, and the Madame Duchess, who was in charge of her, lost everything and was not able to save any money. Angel thought that she would come and collect her money from the Duchess, but now that seems like something that can't happen. All the girls that Angel had left behind had left with bruises, and one of them, who was her friend, died in the fire. Angel was told all this by one of the men who was a customer to all these girls. The man extended an invitation to Angel to come and continue business into his bar, because he had opened up a new bar and he carried out similar services, which is something that Angel agreed to, and she resumed her prostitution again. When Paul returned home, Hosea looked at him and asked him why he took her back to that place. Paul looked guilty and kept saying she wanted to go back. Hosea, having perceived that Paul had also slept with her, Hosea asked Paul to leave immediately before he could kill him. Hosea ran in town and started looking for Angel. He found her when she's serving one of the men who had paid for her services, and then asked her if she wants to leave, which she said yes, and grabbed her hand, and they started to run. The men in the bar were not easy on letting Angel go, so Hosea had to fight the men before he could run away with Angel. He took her back home, and this time Angel stayed and tried to settle back in and continue with her life as normal. Though before that could happen, Angel tried to protest, asking Hosea that she's not deserving of him, asking him that if he knew what they did also with Paul, then why is he trying to keep him? Why is he trying to bring him back home? And Hosea told her, you don't get it, do you? I love you and I want you back home because I love you. After some time, they got neighbors. Strangers who were walking got stranded and ended up becoming their neighbors. The neighbor's wife was pregnant and due very soon. Time came, she delivered safely, and Hosea was so happy holding the little boy. When Angel saw how Hosea loved the boy, Angel's heart sank because she knew that she could not give him children because of what they had done to her. The neighbors also had elder children. Among them was a young lady who was almost the age of Angel. So Angel devised a plan to encourage Hosea to marry her instead. Angel gave a treat to Hosea, cooked his favorite meals, decorated the house, and took him to the place where Hosea told her that he wants to give her a new life. They made love, and the next morning, Hosea woke up to find that Angel ran away again. But this time, before Angel ran away, she wrote a note and left her ring to Mariam, who is the daughter of the new neighbors, and asked her to be the wife for Hosea because she is more deserving of Hosea. When Mariam got the note, she ran looking for Angel, only to find that Angel had left. She told Hosea to go and chase after her, but Hosea said she has a free will. She has to come back by herself and on her own. This time round, Hosea did not go chasing after her. As time moved on, Hosea kept working hard, buried all her time in work just so he could stop thinking about Angel. And in town, Angel got a small job and started to work as a cook and worked hard, for she did not want to do indecent work anymore. When the Duke, the guy who bought her when she was 8 years old, found out how she was doing, they came and burnt down the restaurant where Angel was working and took her back into prostitution. But this time round, Angel decided to pray. He prayed to God that God would save her from this life. Angel's heart started to cry when she heard young girls of the same age when she was recruited crying in the next room because the Duke had also recruited 2 more young girls. The men waited for the prostitutes which were to be bought, and the Duke was bringing out his most prized prostitute, Angel. Angel kept praying, and then she saw the ghost of her mother telling her to just say the truth. When Angel stood on the stage to address the congregation who had come to buy her for her services, Angel told them that Duke is interested in young girls and he's holding hostage 2 little girls and recruited her when she was 8 years old. She ran away when she's 17 and he ran after her. The Duke called them lies, took her away quickly just so he can distract the people. A few people had caught the information, others believed that they are lies. A man from the congregation went in and rescued Angel from the grips of the Duke. Angel ended up rescuing the 2 other girls and they all escaped from the place. And when the men who had come to buy prostitutes saw the 2 little girls, they were all enraged and they ran after the Duke. The Duke tried to escape, but he could not escape from the anger of the men of the town. They ended up hanging him in his own house. Angel began a new life, started working in a rehabilitation center, helping young girls like her who want to change their lives. Paul came to town searching for Angel and found her. Paul apologized to Angel for what he did to her and also told her that Hosea is still waiting on her and Hosea has never stopped loving her. The movie ends when Angel comes back home to Hosea and they get to have children of their own. They are blessed with children and they get to live a happy life.